Welcome back on board the Starship. We appear to have another guest on the show who seems to have got caught up in the teleporter machine. I'll need to have a word with the engineers about that. This is actually Ulysses the rabbit, who's the pet on the Richplanet Starship. Okay, round about this time in the show, I'm going to be getting public opinions, and this is where I go out and about on the streets of England trying to find alternative or original opinions. And now it's time for the interesting scientific fact of the week, and it is that if our sun were just 1 inch in diameter, the nearest star would be 445 miles away. Okay, now I think I'll just put Ulysses back in his cosmic hutch. Come on. Unclip the mic. Sorry about that.
More rabbiting now, is it?
Certainly. Okay, we were talking, we mentioned Nick Pope in the previous section, and he's probably a key figure in British ufology, so I think we should talk about him a little bit.
Yeah.
What's your opinion? Come on, be honest about Nick Pope. Is he still working for the government?
Yes, perhaps not so directly as he was, but I'm sure he's been retained in some way. And he has admitted actually to Colin Andrews in America recently at a conference that his masters weren't far away, because Colin was pressing him on this very point. And I'd always had suspicions way back, and some of my friends and colleagues similarly, that he was probably more of a free agent for the MOD to be seen as a retirement and no longer on the payroll perhaps, to be more relaxed with the ufologists and picking up what was going on, perhaps feeding back good information.
So you heard that on the Richplanet Starship. Nick Pope's masters are not very far away.
No, that's right.
Okay. Right.
From his own lips, that was to Colin Andrews last year.
Okay.
And
one thing I do know is that when he publishes books, that they have to go to the MOD first before he can publish them, I believe.
Yeah.
He has to, because of the Official Secrets Act that he originally signed. That doesn't necessarily mean he's still working for them, but means that they have to okay anything he wants to publish, I guess. Okay, and you had a particular disagreement with Nick Pope about the Milton Torres case. I'll just fill the audience on the Milton Torres.
Yeah, sure.
Fill the audience in on the Milton Torres case. This was 1957. A US Air Force pilot was ordered to shoot down a huge UFO flying around above Ipswich.
Yes, by the time they got there, it was in the North Sea. It moved across the coast. And it was the wingman, there was two of them, not just Milton, but the other guy as well, who were ordered to chase this object and fire the weapons.
And we've actually covered that in one of our programs, the Caton Files, where you went through the whole chain of command, right from the top, which was...
Yes, headquarters of Fighter Command.
Fighter Command, and we went through all of the different levels, and then it would then go to the pilot who would be authorised to shoot it down. And Nick Pope came out with the fact that...
Well, he said in the national press that, now whether it was a personal belief or he was echoing the MOD party line, perhaps a mixture of both, I don't know, that the order to, or the action to actually fire a weapon at a UFO will be down to the pilot's discretion, basically. And we've left to him to judge the situation and do it, which I think is absolute nonsense, because bear in mind it was Cold War days. The Russian aircraft, the Bear aircraft, were always infiltrating and penetrating our radar and have to be escorted by our fighters back again to Russia. So it was a very twitchy time of period. So if a pilot was to launch very expensive ordnance, and we're talking about 24 Mighty Mouse Aeromite missiles, and his wingman another 24, that's a very expensive ordnance to blast off.
So in your opinion, as ex-RAF, there is no way that a pilot could could fire missiles at his own discretion. He would have to be ordered by the fighter command, without a doubt.
There might be an exception if he was under attack himself. So in self-defence and preservation, he might give him license to fire a cannon or whatever it was at whoever was attacking him. But this was a programmed chase, which was monitored and controlled by the ground radar and people of senior rank, and he was given a coded order, which Milton was shocked by. He said he checked it and questioned it because he couldn't believe he'd been given this instruction. So, and when a foreign national and the Americans are on our airspace, there's no way in that particular case, as an American, he would have authorization to fire his missiles. Just as Charles Holt has said, and people do Rendlesham, when they went out of the base at Bentwaters into the forest, they had to remove their sidearms and the rifles and leave them with a guy in the truck inside the base because they've now stepped out into the forest on British soil. So it's just absolute nonsense.
And perhaps the reason
go on.
why Nick Pope said that in the press was to protect the commanders who made the decision.
Yes, he was trying to move the onus off
British hierarchy, military
the MOD,
hierarchy,
fighter command, are giving that order. So it was the pilot's decision. I think that's terrible.
Okay. Okay, now we've mentioned quite a few names so far. I'm just going to list a few other names.
Yes, I've painted rather a bad picture so far, haven't I, about ufologists and ufologists.
I don't know about that, David.
So in general, I think to redress the balance, there's a lot of good guys out there doing good stuff.
There certainly are. I've got a list here. We just sort of knocked this together during the break. Obviously, Timothy Good, Gary Heseltine, Margaret Fry, Omar Fowler, Roy Dutton, your friend Robert Hulse, Tony Topping, Andrew Johnson, Andy Russell, Scott Felton, Phil Hoyle, all
doing good UFO
doing
stuff,
good UFO
and abduction things. And,
I apologise if I've missed anyone.
Yes, I mean there are plenty, but what's lacking is few good UFO groups that people, members of the public who lives in like Manchester. Where are they? I want to join a UFO group, and Quest used to have a directory with all these people listed in, which was thrown into one of the magazine issues, and that, of course, is gone. And there's few of them about these days. Yeah,
it's sort of, there are still some magazines out. There's Nexus, there's Fortean Times, there's Flying Saucer Review. Have we missed any, David?
Well, Omar Fowler has his own in-house little magazine.
Yes.
And one or two people do that, self-produced things.
But of course now a lot of it's moved over to internet discussion forums and internet websites and that kind of thing. So I guess that's drawn a lot of the interest onto the internet.
It's supplemented the loss of hard copy magazines, and you get instant. The bonus is you get instant information, and can promulgate information very fast, which we couldn't do in the past. So, and
of course, on mainstream television, we get very, very little coverage of the subject, all aspects of it: UFO sightings, the abduction phenomenon, recovered UFO cases and this kind of thing, like the Aztec craft or the Roswell incident. They're never given any
depth. There's nothing in depth.
I mean, the latest thing that was on was the Danny Dyer documentary.
I believe in UFOs.
I believe in UFOs, and we all sat and watched that. And any opinion on that, David?
Well, it had good points, but bad points. And I thought it worked in the sense of him starting from cold to explore, the whole business. But I think overall it didn't present ufology in a very good light.
The thing that disappointed me was from word go, he chose to go and see Patrick Moore. Now, I've actually met Patrick Moore. I met him in the early 90s when he spoke at Newcastle University. And Patrick Moore has never believed in the existence of extraterrestrial life on Earth, that extraterrestrial life has visited Earth. So he does not believe, UFOs are extraterrestrial in origin, categorically. He never has.
No, I've heard him make derogatory comments on television programs in the past about the little green men and, you
Yes.
know, and ufologists being
So why
two
would
sorts of a
if
shilling
you,
and all that.
Yes. So why would you go to him
Yeah.
to find out about the subject first?
Yeah.
I mean, why not go to Stanton Friedman? Because he went to the States, didn't he?
Yes, he did, yeah.
And he could have spoken to Stanton Friedman, Stephen Greer, perhaps.
Yes,
Dr.
yeah.
Edgar Mitchell.
Yeah,
They would have
absolutely.
been good people to have on his show.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say, I mean, I don't know. He went and visited a bunch of hippies in the States, didn't he? They were all sort of.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, they have. It's a UFO group of a sort, isn't it? And they have seen things, and you know, things happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't give a good tone, I don't think, to the whole subject. In this country, he could have gone and spoken to Timothy Good, couldn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Never mind the names you mentioned in the States. So.
There were, I think they did approach Orma Fowler, and then for some reason they didn't interview him.
All right, I didn't know.
Yeah, so it's a little bit disappointing the way it is portrayed on the mainstream.
But again, a lot of these television people, they think astronomers have all the answers because they're looking at the sky. But I mean, they're not looking in wide angle. They're using high-powered telescopes with very narrow fields of view. It's a very small portion of the sky, and they're not. So for a UFO to pass in front of a telescope for them to see it would be pretty unusual and very unlikely, I think.
I think with astronomers, from what I've gathered, majority of them, you know, think there's nothing to the UFO phenomenon.
No. Well, there's a bit of arrogance there, isn't there? They want to think that they're going to find
they want to be the ones to announce to the world that they've found intelligent life.
Yes.
They don't want someone tapping them on the shoulder while they're looking through their telescope saying, actually, there's an alien base and they're all living underground.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking in the wrong place, mate.
Yeah.
They want to be with their, Lovell telescope. Oh, we found the signal.
Yeah. Well,
so you're stealing their thunder by...
That's the prime case, isn't it? It was a UFO hovering over the Jodrell Bank telescope for over an hour, and it's not reported. They don't see it. Okay, it was a radio telescope. It wasn't an optical scope. But it's ironic that they are looking for signals way out in space under the SETI contract, and there's the evidence sitting 300 feet above their heads. You know, it's laughable, really. So.
And I think NASA have a big part to play in it all with regards astronomers, because all of the images from the Hubble telescope, for example, and many other telescopes that are controlled by NASA.
And NASA's funded largely by the military.
Yes, and
budgets. Yeah.
NASA are notorious for manipulating the truth and not really letting people in on what's going on up there. What's going on here in space.
Yeah, going back to the internet, one of the bonuses of the internet, of course, is it's harder for the authorities to block information and rubbish it and debunk things. You know, so.
But I mean, I've heard that that they are in subtle ways that they've got departments within U.S. Air Force intelligence that monitor certain above top secret in forums such as that they go on under false aliases and post messages to try and diffuse and discredit certain theories.
Yes, that's another way of countering and discrediting and debunking.
And Wikipedia, Colin Andrews, I was in email contact with him, and he's very suspicious of interference with Wikipedia, because he tries to correct the crop circle page on a regular basis, and then every time he does it, it's removed straight away.
So it makes you wonder who's doing the tweaking and altering the information.
Exactly. So what I do, I mean, I use Wikipedia a lot for information and ufological information, but I wouldn't only use that. I don't fully trust it. I think once something becomes as huge as Wikipedia, then that's when authorities may want to then start to control it. So, they are trying to control elements of the internet, I would suggest. Okay.
Anyway, I think what you're doing with this, your show, is a very good outlet, and well done. Keep it up, Richard.
Right. Well, we haven't been interfered with yet, to my knowledge. Okay. No. But thanks very much for coming in, David. I'm just going to.
Pleasure.
Okay. I'm just going to finish with a few announcements before we beam David back down on planet Earth. At Lytham St Anne's, there's the Probe UK International UFO and Paranormal Conference. That's on the 27th and 28th of March and costs £16 per day. And among the speakers are Andrew Johnson, Tony Topping, and me. Also, AV4, actually it overlaps, it's on the same date, on the 26th, 27th and 28th of March. That's the Alternative View Conference, organised by Ian Crane. And that's at the Thistle Hotel, Heathrow, London. And speaking at the conference will be David Bellamy, Johnny Ball, Brian Gerrish, and many others. So thank you very much for watching, and keep your eyes on the skies and your feet on the ground, and tune in next week.